Good evening, everybody. It is time for Lion City Sailors against Sydney FC in the first leg of the semi-finals for the Asian. Well, I guess it's not actually technically Asian, isn't it? The A stands for AFC. AFC Champions League Two. It's a
just
big,
call
big
it the
night.
Asian Champions League for simplicity's sake.
Yeah, Asian Champions League. Sorry. The ACL 2, because we have the elite and the 2 now, which is not confusing at all. But it is a very exciting competition. My name is Lachlan Abel. I'm joined by Jacob Stevens. Pauletti should be joining us.
They
soon,
said they'd be here.
we think. I know they have been actually busy. There's been some women's football breaking news that they've been jumping on top of. But good evening, everybody in the YouTube chat. How are we? Abdul is in here predicting Sydney FC 6, Lion City Sailors 0. That's very bold of them.
That is a huge prediction. That's
very big. The best YouTuber ever says, good to see you guys live. Well, that's very high praise coming from you. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
No, we love doing these. It's a good opportunity. Jacob and I are also on a high. Arsenal beat Real Madrid 3-0 in the Champions League this morning, as we all know. Massive. Oh my God. Seriously?
That's
peak.
That's the best performance I've seen from Arsenal in a long time.
See, I don't even care about the performance. Like, I don't care one bit. It was an awesome moment. Declan Rice scored 2 banging free kicks. The second one was the best free kick ever taken.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
It was probably Arsenal's best win in Europe ever, unless you want to maybe say the Cup Winners' Cup win. Undefeated against Real Madrid in the Champions League, just Arsenal things. Crazy. But let's focus in the football because the teams are coming out. Pauletti is here. Hello. Good evening, Pauletti.
Yes, good evening. Sorry, I just realised that no one needs to see me in my dressing gown. So
fair enough. We appreciate your slight delay to the arrival of the stream as the teams are coming out. So we've got,
there was some breaking news in women's football. So just a lot of things taking precedence tonight.
There was a lot going on, wasn't there?
Yes.
Unfortunately, my appearance on the Chris McPherson show about half an hour ago meant that I was unable to get that video out for you. I apologise, but I reckon a sneaky edit at halftime of this game, I'll be able to.
Sneaky edit.
I reckon I can give it a go. I'm no promises, but I can try.
Jacob, I reckon that the two of us can hold the fort down for 15 minutes or so.
I just don't know if Lockie can get a video edited in 15 minutes.
Whoa, hey, buddy.
That's going to be the test.
This new MacBook Air is doing wonders for me, I tell you.
Are we sponsored by Apple?
Sorry, these other laptops are available.
Yes, there we go.
Look, all I'm saying, if it takes more than 15 minutes to edit a 15-minute video, what are you even doing with your life?
Okay.
Actually, to be fair, I think it might have been like 10 or something.
The best YouTubers in the chat saying how good was Declan Rice, baby. That last little bit was just me. But yeah, he was spectacular, wasn't he?
Good. 100 million and it still feels like we cheated West Ham.
Absolutely. It's brilliant.
It's like,
he also asked, hey guys, is there big money if Sydney FC win the double legs? Absolutely. The uptick for this tie alone is good. Have we had kickoff yet? No, not quite.
Not quite.
But the Champions is big. It's 2.5 million full stop. Just for winning this competition, let alone the guaranteed qualification money that you're getting for just being in the ACL elite. If you get, this is another point where I've been caught out. I don't know if it's a full place or a qualification place. I think it might be a 1-game playoff to get in, with maybe like a close finisher from Japan or China or Korea or something like that. I could be wrong, but there is lots of money on the line. And it's good to see the club taking it so seriously as well. Which I've been very, very happy with.
Who needs to beat the league leaders when you've got Champions League qualification on the line?
Exactly. I wonder how Auckland feel about that question. The best YouTuber. Do you guys follow the NPL? We do little bits here and there.
I'm the NPL nerd around here. Yes,
vast knowledge is
vast knowledge of the NPL. Yes.
If all goes well, I shall be making my NPL Victoria commentary debut on Friday night.
Nice.
Oh, what game have you got?
See, that's the thing. The roster hasn't actually come out yet. It's there's been some gaps that haven't been filled, so I think it's taking a little longer to get through. But my availability is in. I've done my shadow game, so hopefully this is the week.
Nice.
Which is cool.
Up you on 10-0 tonight. That would have been Australia Cup qualification, wouldn't it? Let's have a look.
I think so, yeah.
In the other cup.
Because I don't believe there was a midweek game for any of the sides. There we go. Let's have a look.
Well, we have kick-off, by the way, in the
do.
game. Lions
We
City
do,
Sailors.
yes.
Let's just do a quick little preview of this one. So the big thing here is the conditions, right? I think it was forecasted to be mid-30s, something like that, with ridiculous humidity as well. They're playing on an artificial pitch, so this will be a little bit foreign for Sydney. But in a tie like this, it's stay in it, get a lead if you can, don't get blown out, and you come home to Sydney next week and give yourself a massive opportunity to win and then host an Asian final, because they will be able to host if they win this game, which is quite cool.
Yeah, I was. Thank you for the best YouTuber. Yeah, no, I'm having a look at some of these results tonight, and some spicy ties went on tonight. And if I didn't have to be here, I might have ventured out to a few of these.
If I didn't have to be here, nobody's holding you hostage.
Love the game. Love the game. Shall we have a quick gander at the lineup? Because I haven't actually looked at it in that greater detail.
Yes. Corey Holman starting.
Okay.
Popovich back in the lineup. And Joel King starting at right back.
So
Ryan
Joel
Grant
King,
starting as well.
That's been standard the last few weeks.
That's been standard, yeah.
Then Grant's, Popovich, Corny Perkins, Centre and Holman. So Kamijo misses out with Caceres, Costa, Lolly and Klamala. So all pretty stock standard for Sydney FC.
Yeah.
Kind of know what we're getting at this point in the season. I think Kamijo, though, he's been a player that's kind of snuck up on us.
Yeah, it's just kind of come out of nowhere. Everyone's focusing on all the other players. Sydney have got all the rest of the firepower, and
yeah.
Well, I mean, as a proud MPL snob, Kamijo definitely hasn't stuck under my radar. I will say that. I will say this should tell you how much Sydney FC I've watched in recent weeks. I had absolutely zero idea that Joel King had been playing at right back.
Yeah, nice. No, he's been there for a little while.
Yeah.
So far into the depths of the A-League women's season, and my MPL commentary commitments that I have not watched a lot of A-League men in the last few weeks. I'm not going to lie.
Fair enough. How do I get to the live section on the YouTube? I've been working on my new setup all day, right? Because I didn't know what the best thing to do is. But what I'm going for is just a live stream on the laptop in front of me, as in like the Sydney game. And then I'm still doing all the stream stuff off my desktop, but I want to try to get the chat up there as well. So I can just have the game full screen down here.
Nice.
That's the plan. Sith Slayer was saying it's artificial turf. Lockie said it just as I type. Yep. No, they're going to have to deal with that. And yes, the recovery is going to be tough on a flight playing back on hard turf. You're 100% correct. Am I correct, Paletti?
Yes.
Correct me if... Oh, I could be wrong here. Is this the ground that MacArthur played a home game at last year because they wouldn't let a team into Australia? It just looks similar, but I can't remember where they went. I can't remember if it was Singapore or Thailand.
I'm pretty sure they went to Thailand.
It's Thailand, not Singapore. Okay.
Yes. No, it was... I'm 99% sure they went to Thailand because the Australian government would not give the side from Burma or Myanmar visas.
The best YouTuber, yes, they did go straight from Adelaide to Singapore. They went straight there, which is something that the club have been very consistent in doing for this whole campaign. They've been getting to places early with a few days of prep time, which has been, again, very encouraging.
Yeah, Tale was talking about that actually after the press conference, after the Adelaide game, and sort of as he was walking out the door. I can't remember who it was. Just asked him about, the travel and stuff, and what's the plans, and he basically reeled off the whole itinerary where he's like, we're gonna go back to the hotel, we're gonna do this, and we're gonna wake up, and we're gonna go to the airport, and then we leave at this time, and we're gonna arrive, and then we're gonna do a training session, and we're gonna do this and this and this, and then we come back, and then he ended it with, but that's football, isn't it? It's like brilliant, like that's spot on.
That is football. Have you guys got a look at the teams in the Western semi-final? I know it was a 1-0 result this morning. It was actually funny. I was just watching the Arsenal game and trying to look at the other score. And I'm like, oh, there's ACL 2 semi-final on now as well. I haven't seen any of it. No.
I have not either, no.
No.
But yes, I know it's 1-0 after the first leg. But plenty to play for, obviously. They look like they've had a lot of possession off the off here.
Well, I can't tell which one's Sydney and which one's
Sydney are in the blue.
Sydney are in blue.
Yep.
I can tell, but the problem is that because it's 10 play, the 720p quality of the stream and this very
when it's that wide angle, yeah,
it's making it very hard to tell.
Sydney FC wins today. Greetings from Chile. Well, Chile, that's a new one. I don't think I've seen that pop up on the metrics
Alexis Sanchez.
Yeah. God dang it. Got to get the link out on the socials as well. Twitter repost, getting it on Blue Sky.
I'm literally putting it up on Blue Sky now.
Okay.
I noticed you hadn't posted anything today about it. I was like, where's Clutch? Why isn't he here?
Oh, true.
He probably doesn't know it's on.
I just posted it.
Okay, cool.
Sorry, I literally just copied and pasted it over. You know what was difficult? Figuring out what the 3-letter abbreviation for Lion City Sailors was.
Is it LIO? Is it LCS?
LCS, apparently,
LCS.
but it took me a while to actually find out because they didn't have like any promotional material on the game before today. Which makes it difficult, but oh well. Yeah, you're right. The quality really does suck, doesn't it?
10 play, locked at 720p.
Yeah, the best YouTuber hates it as well.
Like, I can't imagine it's that, it would be that hard or that expensive for the 10 Paramount CBS, whoever is the one in charge of running things, to just, at the very least for sport, not throttle it to 720p, actually put it up to 1080.
I forgot the clock.
Oh, good job, Lucky.
We're about 7.5 minutes in, a little bit.
You even announced, you were like, oh, we've just had kickoff. And I was like, oh, that means he'll press the clock. Clearly not.
I'm sorry, everybody. We're correct now, though. I just can't remember.
It's been a big week for all of us, Lockie.
Been a big day. I've been up since 4:30 this morning.
Yeah, it's been
absolutely knackered. I've got my big.
And you said you were going to have a nap, yeah?
I said I was, and then I just had so much to do. I just kept finding something else to do and didn't have time. But I've got my big Winnie the Pooh mug here of tea.
Nice. That is huge.
Yeah, it's good. It's got some good caffeine in it. Blinkers, lads, how you going, mate? Good to see you. Of course, the other angle of this game that we haven't talked about yet, Bailey Wright is an Australian playing in this game at the heart of defence for Lion City Sailors, former Socceroo, of course, the Australian standing in the way of Australian history. I think it was Paul Williams did a good interview with him in The Guardian this week in the lead up.
Yeah, I liked what he said, though, where he's like, he basically said, I don't feel like I'm in the way of anything, right? Kind of like he's playing for himself. His career and his progression is more important than the notion of football in the country that he
100%
no longer plays in.
100%.
Good pass there, and a good run over the midfield from Cusero. Just a little bit too much mustard on that pass.
Yeah, close. Evening, Monique. How are you? Are you still in the UK? I believe that's where you are at the moment, right? Still overseas travels? Oh,
Overseas traveling in this economy.
wow. Yokohama F. Marinos scored an 89th and a 92nd goal to get a point away to Kawasaki.
Nice.
Desperately needed as well. They're in the relegation zone at the moment.
Yeah.
Are they still being coached by an Aussie or?
Well, PK's their assistant, but Steve Holland, an Englishman, is now at the helm.
Not my
Steve
favorite
Holland.
Englishman.
Why do I know that name?
I may have complained about him a number of times.
He's the big figure behind a lot of the Ben White rumours in the England setup. Back in Australia now. Okay, so you're back to the horrible time zones as well. Good to know, Monique. Bailey Wright would be a great signing for an A-League club once he's done his Asian cash-in. There are a lot of A-League clubs that could use a nice, solid centre-back.
Yeah, one of them playing in this match.
One of them playing in this match. I would love him at Melbourne Victory. I don't think Roderick
Adelaide,
Miranda or Brandon Hamill are up to par anymore.
Although my faith in the Adelaide coaching staff of actually being able to set a defender up for success is another story entirely. But
I mean, at this stage, Cal V is just going to join the long list of Australian coaches coaching overseas.
yeah, that's the thing, right? It's very interesting. There's obviously been a lot of talk about his future at Adelaide, but nobody's been talking about what happens if all these rumours are true and he doesn't have the job. Where does he go next? Is it another A-League club takes a punt on him, or does he find
I don't
he could
know.
go overseas?
Like, he feels like he has so much baggage with him.
Yeah,
Like-
I don't know who would take a punt.
yeah. That's
I
my
mean,
thinking.
what clubs will likely need coaches next season? The Mariners?
Paletta, you
If
should
Mark
listen to the latest
Jackson?
podcast, I tell you.
I did, but I sort of, in my haze, only remember parts of it. I was driving back from Newcastle at the time, and so I was very exhausted. Although I will say I did like Jacob's complaints about why is Devon Smith so far out of his box?
Modern football, baby. Let's go.
I mean, maybe I'm just having PTSD from one of Sydney's Champions League adventures where Ryan Grant had to go in goals because Redmayne didn't play and Thomas Hewitt-Bell came out and bloody, two-fisted the ball when he was like 30 yards out of his box.
Best YouTuber, you were correct. Auckland cannot qualify for either of the Asian competitions. So their spot, the top spot given to the top A-League team at the end of the regular season for the ACL Elite will go to second place if Auckland are premiers, which at the moment is Western United. For the coefficient, I hope someone gets over the top of them just because I think it'll be a similar kind of Mariners story this year. But second spot is big. Yes, Monique, I think you might have missed it. We were talking about it just before you came in. Declan Rice. Oh my God. What? It was honestly, I've been in attendance for 3 Arsenal games and this one beats all 3. Like actually being there, like just being on the other side of the world. It's just amazing.
It was so good.
Does that include the All-Stars game, Lockie?
Sorry, I should have said men's games. Yes, you're correct.
I knew what you meant. But yeah, so Jacob, and I was listening to you with the goalkeeping, talking about how, great goalkeepers this season. And I was just thinking, he's like, cute, come back when your coaches used 4 goalkeepers for no reason whatsoever.
All right.
Early chance here.
Oh, yeah, Lion City breaking in. Pletty, I need you to do like oh, no, you can't do the pause on 10 play. Oh,
No,
Pletty's ahead.
don't. No, it's already kicked me off the stream once. I'm not doing it again.
So, Liam and Blinkus, in answer to your question, there was some controversy last year because the Mariners earned their way into the ACL Elite through the AFC Cup, and it kind of negated Australia's spot. It actually works slightly differently here because Sydney FC are not in the running to qualify for the A-League spot. So because the Mariners got through both ways, they essentially took the A-League spot, and the playoff match to go into the ACL Elite given to the AFC Cup winner was just forfeited. So whatever team they were scheduled to play just got to the next phase. this year, what's going to happen is Sydney are not going to finish in second place. We know that. So whoever finishes in second will go through. And if Sydney manage to win the AFC 2, ACL 2, they will go through. I think it might be a qualifying ground, but they will also go through alongside the top Australian A-League side as well.
Mm.
It's a little bit complicated. But
as many as, which means we could have up to 3 teams next season in Asian competition.
You know what, Paletti? I've been having nightmares about the Bulls in the AFC 2 next season, but I am actually very happy after the performance they put out against Brisbane on the weekend, because it feels like they can adapt well and they have smart recruitment. So, and Millet,
I was going to say, like, you haven't been living under a rock. We've had these discussions all year about how they've, or for the last 2 months at least, about how they've lost half their squad, basically. Like I know right now it hasn't been the most convincing stretch for MacArthur, but they'll recruit well in the off-season. They have an incredibly strong academy. Admittedly, I haven't had a chance to watch their first grade side play yet this season, but from everything I'm hearing, they're showing a lot of promise and talent. They have a lot of money in the bank to recruit smartly and bring players in, and that was what they did before they played ACL 2 or AFC Cup. So I think they'll do quite well.
They'll do well. Yeah. I expect them to get out of the groups and then just have a good punt at the knockouts. So I think that's what most mid-tier Australian teams should be doing.
It's what the aim should be.
Yeah. But then teams like Sydney, if they end their way in here, and I think, who was it in here? Best YouTuber said it as well. Yeah, so MacArthur were the Oz Cup winners, so they get the ACL 2 spot next year. So that's locked in. That was done months ago, obviously. Or more defensive transition moments. Wow, Devonish Muse, fair play. He's come good the last month or so. Devonish Muse.
Yeah, bit of a resurgence. But that was not an ideal.
Hold on.
They're saying there was an elbow.
Yeah, they're calling for a handball.
So it's a handball.
Oh no.
He's already been sent off in this competition, right?
That's testing my knowledge. I can't remember.
There was a Sydney keeper.
That's chest. That's all chest.
Ball in behind. He's onside. The ball's been flicked up.
Plays on. Is VAR even in this competition anyway?
Yes, in the knockouts, it has been.
Plays moved on.
Play on.
Thank goodness. I know I talked about Sydney FC keeper blunders earlier, but that was in like the 89th minute. I think Heward Bell did that. Like, I don't need that happening in the 18th minute of the game. Thank you very much. Oh, fudge! That's a good strike.
Oh, I'm so far behind.
That is
Oh, that's a goal.
That's a great hit.
What a shot that is! My word.
Bart Ramselaar with an absolute rocket.
That's a great hit.
Advantage Lion City. Holy smokes.
What a goal.
That's that's a good hit.
It's park the bus now, right?
Wow.
Do you try to build up as much of a lead as you possibly can now, so you can just park the bus next week?
Yeah.
You don't feel comfortable with only a 1-goal lead if you're Lion City.
You've got to do what Arsenal did and just 3 goals in 17 minutes, put the game to bed.
What a strike!
That's a great hit.
That's amazing.
That is.
Like, Andy Harper's talking about the high line, and they did get the ball over the top, but like, it's been recycled. That's just amazing hit.
Yeah.
That's a stunning goal.
That hasn't even gone in off the underside of the crossbar. That's like the under third of the crossbar. Like, it's... Oh, you could ask him to do that hit another 100 times. I guarantee he's not getting it in once. That's a freak goal.
What could they be checking for here?
Oh, that's a stand.
I reckon offside. But I reckon it was good. Yeah, play on.
Decision goal, yeah.
Wow, yeah, that's a screamer. Some good reactions in the chat as well. Yeah, that is a crazy goal, my word.
Something about content of competition and great goals today. clearly.
I think I did miss one back here as well. Monique was saying that her son spent all afternoon trying to replicate the Declan Rice free kicks.
I've seen so many memes of that where it's like me in the garden trying to recreate those free kicks, and it's like just footage of people smashing the ball into rosettes and stuff. It's like, yeah.
Where does Declan rank in your favourite Arsenal players? Because he's number 3 for me.
Number 3 for you?
Yeah.
I've got Saka's definitely ahead of him. Saka's number 1.
Okay, he's my number 2.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm going to go Saka number 1. I've got to go Rice number 2, to be honest. And then like Calafiori number 3.
Calafiori, really?
I love that guy so much. And then like Saliba 4.
Fair enough. I love Martin Odegaard.
Yeah.
I just love his vision and his passing ability. That honestly, an incredibly intelligent passer of the football and creative passer is for me the best thing in football. And then Saka can dance around and Declan Rice can boss the midfield and hit it from distance. So current squad, Monique, that was my current squad top 3.
Like that, Saka gets number 1 for me simply because of the English bias. Like,
fair enough. Fair enough.
Like,
he's the wonder kid. He's made in Arsenal, made at Hale End. Fair enough.
I mean, just so I feel like I have something to contribute to the discussion. Kyra Cooney Cross 1, and then Steph Kelly and Caitlin Ford tied for 2. Like,
good choices.
She's had a good couple of months, Kyra, over at Arsenal. Really settled in recently.
Yeah.
Just so I feel like I have something to contribute to this Arsenal discussion.
I loved a lot of the posts of like the women's full-time 3-0 against Real Madrid, the men's 3-0 against Real Madrid. It was just, so good.
That one club mentality. That's the one thing I think Arsenal's done really, like, you know, it's now the women are selling out Emirates Stadium.
Oh, they picked the great moments to move
It's fantastic.
There.
Yeah, it's great
awesome
stuff.
And of course, the Champions League semi-final against Lyon.
Yeah.
Massive. Pose in here saying Lion City has a team majority made from foreign imports playing in this game. Basically, it's not local players. Only the local league, they will play local player mixture of 5 players. For such a cut, they'll play majority imports. It's interesting. I mean, that's an interesting thing, right? Because a lot of these Southeast Asian nations have these teams up the top that are quite competitive, actually, in Asia, but the leagues turn into a little bit of farmer league kind of situations. But that's just up to the league and how they want to set their domestic eligibility rules, I guess. Oh, best YouTuber. You don't even know the half of it, mate. 4:30 a.m. Get the coffees in, watch the Arsenal through all day, get live at 10 o'clock. Primo football. Man.
I literally watched the game this morning, slept for an extra half an hour afterwards, get up, go to work, come home, and then get ready for this. It's you gotta love the game, right? You gotta love it.
Absolutely. Sith Slayer says, looks like Lion City did their homework, angled long balls over the top with support runs. They are absolutely spamming that X button, for sure. Or is it RBY? You know, I just have this weird, maybe it's probably sad representation of how much FIFA I've played.
Triangle on PlayStation.
Triangle, sure, whatever.
Yeah.
But I can do all the buttons off instinct. I actually couldn't tell you some of what the controls are.
Oh, right.
Like I couldn't tell you exactly. I think R1. It's
R1 triangle on PlayStation.
Isn't that driven though? L1 triangle is the lofted.
No, hang on.
Yeah, where's my controller? Going down the
road. L1.
It's been so long since I've played
L1
FIFA or EAFC, but back in the day when I was playing regularly, like I wouldn't even have to look at my controller. It was just touch motion. It was just kind of okay, here, okay, there's space there.
Cheese poo.
I honestly, that ref's got to get out of the way.
Buffering a little bit, are we? Let's see. What's the stream health like?
I blame this on you upping the bitrate, Lockie.
The bitrate looks steady. So we might have had a momentary dip. Also, the cameras, my camera in particular, I haven't had a lot of issues with recently. So don't be surprised if the camera quality is not amazing. but I think the stream is in an all right place. All good for you. Cheers, mate. Well, that's another shot on goal. Sydney FC are the better of the opening 15 minutes here, but Lions City have really worked their way into the game.
Yeah. Sydney just haven't really been particularly incisive at all. I don't think. They've had a bit of possession here and there, but it doesn't feel like they're quite finding those balls, those progressive passes to move the ball into that final third. They're just sort of getting stuck a little bit. Maybe it's the surface, right? I mean, playing on artificial, and it's raining too, so it's going to be slippery. The ball is going to skid on a lot,
and humid,
and very humid. They're not easy conditions to play in by any means. So that might be something that's kind of affecting them a little bit. But you've got to prepare for these sorts of things, so they can't claim that it's come as a surprise to them.
The question of is artificial actually harder to play on is probably not like a totally fair one. It's like it's just a different style, right? If you're trained to play on grass like the Sydney FC players are, it's going to be significantly different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you to go back to the best YouTuber, if you look at the NPL competitions, at least here in New South Wales, so many of the fields are artificial that some of the players struggle to adapt when they actually go to grass. It's something that Sydney Olympic have tried to use to their advantage in the past when they've played at Belmore, is the fact that it's not a synthetic pitch, whereas you go to Sydney United, you go to RPL Leichhardt, you go to NWS Spirit, they're all artificial pitches. So yeah, if you're used to playing on artificial, then it's easier. If you're used to playing on grass, it's
You want to know a fun fact about that first goal?
Sure.
The assist was from D. Costa.
Right. Okay. Have they just cloned him or something?
No, they're Portuguese 21-year-old left back Diogo Costa.
Diogo Costa. Okay.
I thought they just misassigned the assist. But
the assist and given it to.
Oh, beautiful run in behind.
That's a good ball.
All right, I have to now refresh. Oh, what a ball!
5 seconds later.
That was better.
21-year-old Portuguese left back sounds like something you'd see if we were doing an FM stream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, hit the subscribe button. It's a nice little button just hanging down there.
Yeah,
I think we've already got a few coming through, so thank you.
Ryan Grant's demonstrating with the referee. It's not good.
Yeah, exactly. It's just adaptation.
Oh, that is not a handball.
I've also heard a little bit, and I know this a little bit from playing field hockey. What you're going to get on artificial surfaces is not necessarily always about the grass on top, but they're going to have underlayers and sometimes concrete underneath that as well. And that can actually really affect your body and recovery as well. So if I have a game on a really bad hockey pitch, my legs will get wrecked for a couple of days because it's just not great to be running on that kind of surface. So I have no idea what's underneath this one, but that is often the stuff that can vary a lot more than the surface as well, and that can affect your body after the fact, which would be interesting.
Well, we have here in SA, everyone's going artificial now, it seems, which sucks because I hate running on artificial, to be honest.
Yeah.
But the first one that was put in at West Beach was a sand base one, and everyone agrees wholeheartedly it is the single worst artificial pitch in the entire country. Like, it is so bad with the sand underneath, and the rest have moved to the synthetic rubber infill, and it's a lot nicer, but I still prefer grass just for running on. There's it's less harsh on your joints, and you don't wake up the next day feeling like you've been shot.
I've played on synthetic twice, playing quad ball, not football, but played once in 2022, I want to say, in Canberra. There was one artificial pitch running for the national tournament, and it was raining like buggery the entire weekend, so people were slipping on it left, right, and centre because a lot of us, obviously, amateur sport don't have two sets of boots. So I've got one set of boot. Most of the games are on grass. So that presented the problem. And then I want to say 2023, I also played on synthetic, and that was, I want to say it was like a 30-degree day in September. So like my feet were literally burning as I was playing, and it was just I could not get off the field quickly enough. Honestly, like
yeah, they do burn, don't they?
not great. I don't know. So I've put this question to James Johnson at a presser once. I want to say
Great tackle.
I want to say it was before the Matildas played in Adelaide, and it was in amongst.
Great tackle. The refresh didn't work, guys.
It didn't work.
It was in amongst a bevy of fixture washouts in New South Wales, just because it was just raining so heavily for weeks on end in the middle of winter, as it tends to do. And I basically said, look, is synthetic pitches something more that FA would push for, or do you push for grass and maybe take the washouts as they come to? And I don't remember the answer, but I think it leaned towards the grass pitches and just sort of like, oh, what a slide that was. Speaking of slippery synthetic, my word. Waiting for Lockie to see it.
Yeah, he's done well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's just one of those things where grass is probably better in the long term, and you just have to take the washouts as they come, because being council grounds, especially in New South Wales, as soon as there's a drop of rain, they'll shut the grounds. They don't want nothing doing it.
That's one thing I have heard, and this is all speculation. I'm not really involved too much in local football, but just the rate of like cancelled games can be ridiculous. And of course, like you're not paying any less for them. So particularly juniors, like you just want to be getting out there. So you understand the artificial from that perspective. But top tier has to be grass.
There's clear benefits to it. I mean, upkeep is much lower. You don't have to cut the grass and do the lines, and it's literally it's just put it in and play. But then it's perhaps a little bit less favorably viewed from a player's perspective.
But I mean,
it gets a lot hotter as well when the sun is out. Oh, it's a heat sink. And I know at least Football SA has changed the heat policy to make it lower for games that are being played on artificial pitches, to accommodate for the fact that it does heat up a lot quicker on those surfaces. So, there's definite trade-offs to it as well.
I mean, I think part of the problem as well is just how long it can, be to replace the synthetic, right? Like, it's like because it eventually wears out and you have to replace it, and just the cost associated with it and the length of time to replace it. Like, I know last year, field number 2 at Valentine Sports Park, the home of Football New South Wales, was out of action for the entire season because they were replacing the synthetic.
Yeah.
And there's grounds that are probably well overdue for synthetic replacement that just keep getting pushed off because the time and the cost associated.
Go on, Ryan.
Ryan's going to get himself a card if he's not careful.
I reckon it was a Lion City throw. G'day, Sam. Good evening, mate. Rice, baby.
Everybody is on it.
The best YouTuber, yes. I certainly saw the ban NRL tweet from Joe Lolly. Absolutely so brilliant.
So many brownie points for that. Instant meme material.
I mean, I don't blame him in the slightest. I mean, when's the last time that England did anything in rugby league?
Well, I mean, rugby league is the inferior rugby, so
yeah.
Oh no!
They only care about it in New South Wales and Queensland. Like,
yep.
It's the only place in the world where it's relevant.
Test match union is just so much a better sport.
Okay, anyway. I will give it that, but that's just because it's somewhat competitive. Unlike
Well, also
literally
they just
you've
don't
got
say, "Oh, we'll do a scrum." No, we'll give up as soon as you put it in. Oh, we've done 6 tackles now. We'll just give up and kick it to you. Like it's actual proper sport. Anyway,
Hard nosed, yeah.
football.
But depending on who you talk to, Lockie, that is a form of football.
Yeah, true. I know. I just realised halfway through, I'm like, oh, that's actually not the clarification I thought it was.
let's talk about some good old fashioned soccer.
Soccer.
Yeah,
Oh god.
that's right.
Soccer. To be fair, that's like closer to the SOKKAH that gets thrown around on Twitter a lot.
Trying to do the American sort of
Yeah.
accent. Anyone who sort of knows
Lolly.
Great
Nobody.
turn.
like Joe Lally, and that's the
Yeah,
only
they're
thing
building
I'll
up more
do.
final third possession here. Oh, that is a good turn.
Yeah, a lot more.
See, I just know they're not going to score now because you haven't reacted to anything. This is so not fun.
Speaking of,
Yeah, you can just see the rubber pellets just literally sticking to the jersey of the player that's on the ground.
You
there.
get-
Like, that's
your boots get full of them at the end of the
Oh,
game.
yeah.
Like you empty it out and they just pour out. It's like, oh jeez.
oh, that is a nasty.
Oof.
Is it? Am I about to see a lot of blood on my screen?
No,
No, I don't
but
think you're just about to see
that's
blood.
a
I just
big
think
impact.
Ooh,
yeah,
okay,
just a reaction from Klamala's elbow. Like I imagine it's probably waking up with the shine of that arrival
That's a
of
foul.
Alana
That's a
Kennedy's
foul.
from Monday night. That was something. And if you've seen the post that Kennedy put out today, it
Oh yeah.
looks absolutely nasty.
Here's a question for everyone in the chat while we have a brief interlude. Adelaide United are now out of the 6, even on points with Sydney FC, who have a harder fixture than Adelaide, and they have these extra games they have to deal with. Who makes it into the final series? Sky Blues
Sydney.
or the Reds?
Sydney.
Yeah, I got to say Sydney as well.
I can't trust Adelaide to see out a
You got to
game.
go 50-50, so there's suspense, so the chat
All right, well,
can give the answer.
I really think there's only one way to answer it, though. To be honest, Lockie. Have you watched any Adelaide game in the last 2 months?
I will give you the closest I'm willing to give to a 50-50 answer. If Adelaide make the top 6, it will be because Sydney FC got themselves out of it, not because Adelaide got themselves into it.
Well, neither of them are getting more than 6 points. So
Look, you wanted something that was close to a 50-50
Thank you.
answer.
Sorry, that was wrong of me.
I can't in any good conscience say that this Adelaide side is going to make the top 6 of their own accord. Like,
Sam-
if Adelaide make the top 6, it will be because Sydney FC have dropped points.
Yeah.
So they
yeah, of
shouldn't
course. Sam, the broadcast is on 10 Play, mate. Free as long as you got an account. You can watch this one. It's not a Paramount exclusive.
Although it would be nice if it was a Paramount exclusive. We could
Yeah,
1080p.
so we could sync all of our programs as well.
Yes, we could do that, yes. I don't care about the syncing. I want 1080p, damn it. I want something that looks like it's from 2025, not 2005.
Crab says
Oh,
Sydney,
Monique.
not Adelaide.
I like that answer, Monique. I
McArthur
like that
make it.
answer. Yes, I like that.
Bulls sympathisers. They're a point down and a game behind.
Yeah, but
I know they had a good weekend. Oh, could you imagine? That would actually... Who are they playing? What's their fixture run?
I can
they've
tell
got
you.
a pretty easy one, I think, don't they?
I can tell you. So they've got the bye this week. Then they play Mariners away. They play Victory at home on Anzac Day.
Oh, no, they have to play Victory and the Wanderers. No chance.
Yeah.
And then they play the Wanderers at home to round out the season.
That's
So
like maybe
victory
4
on
points
victory
on a good
on
run.
unbeatable. Like
No, they're not, but like it's the same with everyone. But
Look, I will say the advantage for MacArthur is that they don't have to leave New South Wales for the remainder of the season. They play 2 at home. They only have to go to Gosford. And I don't know. Victory, I mean, they're sort of in the 6. They could be, I think I think if it was last weekend of the season, there might be a rest factor to go into it just because they might be locked into a spot, but there's still an outside chance of. I mean, they're only out of the top 4 on goal difference, so
Yeah.
Oh, it's another ball over the
you
top.
know they don't want to have to start. Like, if the finals were today, they'd be travelling to Wonderland to play the Wanderers by virtue of goal difference in week 1 of the finals. You want to do everything you can to get that game at home. So,
Sorry, everybody.
Alternative though, Paletti is going away to Western Sydney even that big a deal anymore?
I just
you know, don't want to be that person, but you know,
well, they only turn up for the derby.
exactly. that's
I
the
mean,
point I was trying to get at.
Yeah, look, it's just more the travel aspect of it. If you have the chance to stay in Melbourne, you'd want to stay in Melbourne,
Yeah,
particularly
that's fair.
given. Let me pull the ladder back up. So if I'm looking at this, so let's say they beat the Wanderers, they would play. They'd either have to travel away to Auckland or they'd be basically in Melbourne until the grand final. Would be their 2 options at this stage.
Yeah.
Neither of those are bad options if you ask me. Like, I mean, no one wants to travel to Auckland, but the reality is if you want to, you know, if you want to win the trophy, you got to beat the best team, and at the moment that's been Auckland.
For sure.
Despite their recent struggles. And the other option is you get to stay in Melbourne for the entire duration of the finals until the possible grand final, like, which may or may not be in Auckland. So
Yeah.
I'd rather try to, you know, finish as high as I could, regardless of whether the Wanderers is a difficult place to travel or not.
Best YouTuber will come back to you shortly. Thor is asking which team played better in the first half. I think you have to say Lion City, and it's not just because they've scored, because that was a freak rocket from range, but they've come in with a clear plan, and it's created more, you know, decent chances. Sydney have had a lot of the ball, but they haven't done a whole lot with it.
They're just sort of struggling to really get anything going. Like Lion City have come in strong and hard in their challenges as well, which perhaps has thrown the rhythm off a little bit. They weren't maybe not quite expecting it, because it's how many times have we seen their players just flying in with these sliding challenges, and it's Sydney players just jumping out the way essentially. Like, you know, it's maybe if you'll be on them at halftime saying, just make sure you get clipped on the way through. You know, like let's try and punish them for being so aggressive in their challenges, because as it is at the moment, Sydney are just yielding way too easily.
Yeah, I think as Blinkus has just pointed out, Sydney FC do have a goal just sitting on the bench that they can just use whenever they want in Adrian Segacic. So that will happen. It's going to be at least 1-1. We don't have to worry. Yeah, look, I think they'll settle into the game. Douglas Costa has been at the heart of most kind of promising moves.
Yeah.
You know, he's provided a few. He was just on the end of a pretty decent Anthony Caceres pass. It just rolled over the baseline. Or the wide line, sorry. I keep getting told off for saying baseline in football. There's no reason to worry yet. No reason to worry yet, but would like to see some more positive signs.
Okay, well, there you go. I've got a third idea for you, Lockie. It's not the byline or the baseline. It's the goal line.
No, but it's not. It went out on the outside the goal.
But it's all the same line.
Yeah, but there's posts in the way. Same.
Yeah, probably offside right call there, I think.
I think the other thing to note is I'd really love to see Sydney at least just go even after this leg, because we could be on the cusp of what would probably be the highest ticketed game of Asian football ever on Australian soil.
Yeah.
I wonder what the record for that actually is. It's probably the Western Sydney Wanderers semi-final. I would imagine, that's just a guess.
But didn't they play 2-leg in the final itself?
Oh, sorry, the final was a 2-legger. Yeah, you're right. Back then.
Let's have a look.
Do you want? Okay, please, going to do some quick research.
It'll be between that or the same, but when Adelaide made the final in 2008.
Well, that's the thing, right? I was just thinking if they played at Hindmarsh, There's
Cram
going to be a
18,000
limit.
in.
But the quarterfinal for Sydney got 7 and a bit, I think, midweek. So the home game, they've been billing this for months. In terms of like their build up in the competition, they have a lot of support behind it. This feels like both. It's been a middle ground. Like with the Mariners last year, you thought they were always going to win, and previously in the Champions League, you thought they were always going to lose. So it's hard to find the middle ground. But this competition is a very good balance of something that Sydney FC could legitimately win and would actually be very rewarding to win, as they've just been awarded a free kick on the edge of the box, which would be very nice. But Sydney fans feel invested in this competition, which is awesome. And I think it's to be fair, hands held up, testament to the AFC for the way they've structured this competition. But if they go in with a draw, or even a lead after this Sydney, they're going to get 10,000 next week.
Where are we? Okay, so if we go to the Western Sydney Wanderers, they drew 17,093 for their quarter final against Guangzhou at home. They then drew 18,896 for their home leg against FC Seoul.
Quick pause for this free kick. Anthony Caceres and Douglas Costa over the ball. Left foot right combination. It's Costa just over the bar. Close.
If only there was a player who he could learn from.
Got to get good with that right foot.
And then they drew 20,053 people for their first leg against Al Hilal in the final. Here's a quiz question without notice for Jacob and Lockie, and get in the chat if you want to as well. Who was the referee for the first leg of that that final?
It's got to be Ali Reza, right?
It was, yes.
That's the only reason you'd ask it.
I recognise that name.
There was only ever going to be one answer.
Yeah, because it wasn't going to be an Australian ref. So it had to be another one.
Who's another AFC ref that we've talked about a lot?
We know,
recently?
yeah.
I was like, I recognise that name, man. No. When did what were the 2 years that Adelaide made the semi-finals?
The years before that, right?
It was 2008 we made the final, but we wouldn't have gotten 20,000 in because High Marsh can't hold that much. It did for the Olympics, but they added a bunch of temporary stands at that point.
So we're going to
2008 final.
Yeah, Blinkus, you're right. So the AFC have fixed all these competitions up, and the women's too. And the key thing here is the money. It's not like crazy lucrative like it is in Europe yet. I think it will still grow to that extent, but pardon me, it is to the point now where teams going into the ACL Elite will be willing to invest into it, which is massive just to get it to that point. So all of a sudden, teams are walking in knowing they're going to at worst break even, which for the Mariners, they had to get to the final last year to just break even on the competition. So just to get the money to that point where there's automatically an upside is massive, and will only continue to grow, I reckon. But we're half time here.
Adelaide got 17,000 for the final against Scarborough Osaka, the home leg.
Nice.
And they got 16,998 for their semi-final match against Bunyodkor of Uzbekistan.
Bunyodkor.
So 17,000.
Penalty shootout.
And 16,965 for their home leg against Kashmir in the quarter. So
okay. So they won't beat it next week, but the final could.
Final definitely could.
Yeah, the record obviously is at 20,000 we talked about with Western Sydney, but they're doing.
Oh, sorry. Yep.
Yeah, but no, it's. Would they get 20,000 for the fight for that leg?
Potentially.
Maybe.
Get out some $1 tickets like the Wanderers are doing
It's a Sunday as well. It's not midweek. Yeah. It's on a Sunday. So
no, I'm not talking about the final. I'm talking about the second leg of the semi.
Wednesday night. I think they'll break 10.
Yeah.
With a good result here tonight, I think they can break 10.
I do love a good midweek football though. Like it is good fun.
It's just not a very Australian
Sydney
thing.
side is so fickle in terms of turning up to
Australians.
sporting events.
Australians are.
in general, yeah. And that's not to knock the hardcore Sydney FC supporters who'll turn up regardless.
Yeah.
I reckon, 15 would probably be a good result, I think.
I think so. I think,
For
yeah.
Wednesday night in Sydney. I mean, if it's raining as well, heaven forbid.
But yeah, the final. Because the interesting thing with the final is it's on the same weekend that will be the first leg of the A-League final semi-finals. So that could be very interesting.
Yeah, the fixture congestion is going to be less congestion and more overlap, I think, at that point. It
sucks. If Sydney FC were eliminated, it would work out quite well because you're going to have a Friday night blockbuster, a Saturday night blockbuster, and a Champions League final on the Sunday in Australia.
Yeah.
So that would be awesome. But Sydney FC obviously don't want that to happen because they're going to want to probably have to play a semi-final leg on a Tuesday or a Wednesday night, which is unfortunate, then go into the final and then play the second leg the week after. So the AFC are not moving. The A-League have to work around them. So
well, it's either that or what you would do is go to you'd sort of go the final and then semi-final leg 1 midweek, semi-final leg 2 afterwards, and sort of give Sydney FC that clean run into the final, so that way they're not coming off the back of 3 days and sort of just deal with their final commitment afterwards. Because they're going to have to. Because you got to remember they're going to have to play the elimination final if they make the finals. Do you really want to be going to Sydney? Like, if you're the A-Leagues and you want to give Sydney FC the best possible chance to win this competition, do you really want to be going? You're playing a midweek semi-final leg 1 on the Wednesday night, then you're going to play the final on Sunday, and then you're going to have the week off then. Like, I think you try to move it around.
You have to, because you can't play a grand final 4 days after a semi-final. No. Especially with an all-star game potentially on the Monday night. That's just not going to work.
You know what would solve all of this?
Oh wait, have I got my weeks confused? Have I? So when's the final supposed to be?
On the week of the first leg of the semis.
Yeah, so that is. So it'll be
like
scheduled
the 6th
for the
of May or whatever. I think. Is it the 6th?
Hang on.
The 4th. The 4th. No. What am I talking about?
Yeah, no, I was going to say, I think I'm right. So if we're going to
the 18th, I reckon it's the 18th.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at now. If we go to 2025, yeah, so the final is currently scheduled to be the weekend of the 18th, which also is the weekend of the A-League Women's Grand Final, which means
true.
The final is scheduled for the weekend of 30th of May through to Sunday the 1st. So that's why I'm saying you'd have the second leg of the semi-finals the weekend before, right? So the 23, 24, 25. So that's why I'm saying is you go elimination final, it is the weekend of the 9th to the 11th of May. You then, if Sydney FC get through, give Sydney FC the week off right through to the...
right, and then you're saying play like...
And then I'm saying, so like the
Wednesday,
21st
Sunday.
of May, leg 1, you go the 25th of May, leg 2, or whatever the broadcaster wants
you
that
have to
Saturday
play
night, so be
Saturday,
it. Yeah, so basically just that way you're giving them as much time as possible to prepare for that final if you're the A-League and you genuinely want them to have the best crack at winning this competition. Because the week off does nothing for them.
Yes, but
into the second leg.
It's tough because you're screwing the other team.
You are, but...
So that's the
finish in a
integrity of the
position-
competition.
The integrity of the competition is screwed no matter which way you look at it. It's part of the problem, unless the A-League just is going to change their entire final series just to make sure Sydney FC do their best. Like, I would much rather see the A-League side be given their best, be given the best possible chance to win this competition. And who are they most likely to come up against? Melbourne City, Western United, maybe? Like, because you got to remember, if you're taking into account the international travel to Auckland as well, that could be a.
I think you're right.
There is something we're overlooking here though, and it's like the easiest possible scenario is just Sydney just don't make finals.
Yes.
And then it's all of this is a moot point. If they just go, they figure out that it's going to be a stress if they make it, right? If they're six and they go, I've got to play the elimination final. Then if we do well there and we go through to the semis, it's going to be an absolute mess of fixtures and it's going to be hell for us. Let's just drop out and give the spot to number 7.
Yeah, sure thing.
There you go. It's a solution, and
I think you're right there. I think they'd have to play. They can't play Tuesday. They'd have to play Wednesday, Saturday, probably the week after.
But I mean, it all depends on who they would draw, and because I say if you've got to take the travel to Auckland into account, if they would come up against Auckland, then you really can't do that. You'd have to base. Although to be fair, regardless, if you play it the week before, so you go the Wednesday final on the Sunday, leg 2, could you make the second leg in Auckland?
You know what no, you can't swip around the legs at all. You know what I just thought of? They actually won't do that. They will put the game, they will make them play midweek before the ACL final, because that actually won't affect the other team at all, because they're not playing in the elimination week, because they're going to be a top 2 team that has a bye. So that is actually a way where it only really screws off Sydney.
Yeah.
So that in terms of the competition integrity, that's what they have to do.
And I mean, if Sydney FC can find a way to maybe only concede 1 goal or concede none, then that could make sense. Lucky, don't you have a video to be editing right now?
Oh, yeah. Oh, that ain't happening now. We're like 10 minutes into half time.
Well, I guess what you can do is if you head to the Dubcast YouTube channel tomorrow morning, you should be able to see that video. Lockie's not going to bed till he's got it done.
I've been up for so many hours.
Well, if you thought you could get it done at half time, you can get it done at full time in 15 minutes or less.
Well, I could have edited it at half time and then had it uploading the background. I'll see what I can do. My eyelids might just that's not my choice. They might just close on their own.
Okay, look, if you want to just send me the edited video, I'll upload it.
Or just edit it in Riverside.
No, I don't trust my internet, My internet has enough problems.
Okay.
But you trust it enough to upload it.
Yeah, because I can just leave my computer running in the background all night.
Fair enough.
All right. What's
anyway,
sorry, I haven't been checking in.
Put it this way: at some point tomorrow, you will be able to head to the Dubcast YouTube channel, and you will be able to hear myself and a friend of the pod, Kieran Yap, discuss Mel Andrietta's departure to take on the Scottish women's national team role and what it means for Australian coaching as a whole, given the amount of departures over the last few months and last couple of years. With so many different Australians and national team setups overseas now. So it was a very good discussion I had. And best of luck to Mel Andrietta. I think that she should be the Matildas coach right now, but that's a discussion for another day.
Sounds like it's a discussion for that video, to be honest.
I mean, I'm pretty sure we discussed it. We either discussed it during the record or after the record. I don't remember. The best YouTuber, would cost of tickets play a part? I don't think so, because Australian sides generally, I don't think, charge an arm and a leg for Asian competition. I think, I don't know if there's a minimum financial requirement for tickets that's set out by the AFC in terms of this has to be your cheapest ticket. Red is warming up, and he's got the.
I think he's just passing the ball, isn't he?
I think so, but it's just more the fact he's got the bib off. An interesting one.
No, he's got a smile on his face. He's too happy to be coming on.
He's not taking it seriously enough.
But yeah, I don't think there's like if there's a minimum cost of tickets, like I imagine that's what they would charge. If there's not, from memory, I don't believe that they overcharge too much for Asian competition games because they actually want to get people in the door. So yeah, I don't think cost of tickets would play a part in the attendance. I think it's just a case of whether people actually want to turn up for it or not.
Is this the old why don't Australians care about ACL conversation? Sorry, we kind of tuned out for the chat a little bit. I apologise. Terrible streamers
we got distracted.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, look, Australian interest in Asian competition is tough. It's not like people know the teams too well. I feel like that is changing, at least among A-League diehards, particularly because of this competition and the Mariners run last year. I feel like there's a little bit more interest, but maybe that's just me being closer to it. I don't know. But the more success that teams are going to have in this competition over the next 5 years, the more Australian teams will be interested in it and will actually be thinking about it when the cup is going and when the league is going, because they're actually going to see it as something productive for their football club.
Yeah.
Sam Schofield in the chat, nothing like Europe, and I really don't like the European comparison. I know the old adage is the AFC basically just copy Europe in everything they do, right? In terms of the formats and everything like that. But particularly from an Australian perspective, right? Like if you go onto the continent itself proper, what you see is there is a halftime substitution though. Who is number 7 for Sydney FC?
Sega, no?
That's what I thought.
Yes, Segacic.
Segacic is a halftime substitution, so it should be 1-1 very shortly. Oh, you meant regarding price gouging? Yeah, no, absolutely nothing like Europe in terms of price gouging for European games. I just thought you meant I thought you meant in terms of the
recognition and stature of the competition. Yeah,
as my mind went blank. Because if you go onto the continent itself, they draw quite big crowds to these Asian Champions League games and whatnot. I think there you go. The board's about to go up. No, he's coming on for number 6. So
that's Coleman.
Weird. So that would make sense.
I don't know. That's aggressive.
Yeah, Caceres will drop. He'll play slightly deeper.
Yes. No, you're right.
Actually, she'll come up for. They might just move into like a 4-4-2 type shape.
Yeah. Dan Wilson saying, "What about the money?" Again, we did mention this before, I think, but the money is another thing that not necessarily goes straight to the fans, right? But you can clearly see the increase in intent from Sydney as a football club, and that's going to have an effect in the marketing and the conversation around the competition as well. So, all positive things from my perspective.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the point I was trying to make, because I went on my long-winded rant. Now I've actually got it in my head. I'll get it out super quickly. You got to remember, Australian participation in this competition is not even 2 decades old. So, because Sydney FC competed after they won their first season in the Oceania Champions League. So, yeah, it's much like the case with the A-League, and I know that we've raised this point before, Jacob, and lucky that we were in at Unite Round. We talked to Max Rushton about it, and it's just basically, you just need that history. Give it another 30 years and whatever it is, and the crowds will come, the people will be there. It's a 20-year-old competition at the end of the day. The A-League is from an Australian perspective, and this is ultimately what it is that we've been competing in Asia for 19 years, and there hasn't been that immediate success outside of a couple of runs to the semi-finals for Adelaide United, or the run to the final, Wanderers winning it, and then the Mariners last year. Like,
even that felt like a fluke, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, like Australian sides don't make the knockouts, or if they do, they're usually out in the round of 16, right? Like,
it's crazy that Melbourne City lost one game across 2 Champions League campaigns
didn't even make the knockouts.
and didn't get out of the groups.
So yeah, but it'll come. It'll happen with time, and I think the Mariners last year, if Sydney FC can win this, what I think will really boost crowd numbers is we just need a team to do well in the Champions League Elite, right? Literally make the knockouts and
take over a few $1 million. It's going to be, the first time Australian qualifies for that Final 8 tournament.
Yes.
And then, they're going to be playing alongside Ronaldo, Benzema, not Neymar, Kante, all these guys.
Although, to be fair, like we've had, the likes of Hulk, likes of Oscar come out here before, and they've been below average crowds anyway.
Yeah, but this isn't the same though, because the whole Saudi thing at the moment, it's like the whole Oscar and Oscar thing. They were big transfers, but the Saudi thing is a storyline that has dominated European football fans, right? So all of a sudden that European interest is going on to Saudi Arabia. They're not watching the games week in, week out, but they're aware of what's going on, right? So they know the big names are there. And all of a sudden, if an Australian team is playing against them, then there's enough carrot on the stick to then go have a nibble and check it out. So the first time an Australian team does that, and I'm very optimistic that next season could be that year. If we get a Melbourne City or a Wanderers or a Victory or something to get into that second spot, to go with Sydney FC, because of course they're going to win this competition and the qualifier, get 2 Australian teams in, it means we can't have both teams finishing last. One of them is only going to have to beat 3 other teams, and then you're in the knockout. So,
geez, you really have no faith in John Aloisi, dude.
Yeah, I was going to say, I can't wait for it to be Western.
To be fair, I have a lot of faith in John Aloisi. It's just the state of the football club. That's what it is. I just don't believe that any team outside of the Big Four can do it.
If they make the Champions League elite, they'll win at least one game. They'll get $100,000 and they'll be able to pay their bills. I mean, to be fair, there is still every chance that Aloisi's coaching the Matildas in a couple of months anyway.
So, Sam, just one clarification. It's not about people showing up to watch these Saudi teams, because they're not going to play on Australian soil. Saudi have wrapped up the hosting rights to this final 8, which is when we play the West teams. It's just about attention and getting the storylines out of it and the media coverage.
I mean, A-League socials would go absolutely gangbusters for, this ragtag bunch of A-League players that come up against Ronaldo. And
there would be so many
and
things of like, the amount that Ronaldo earns in a minute could pay for the whole squad for a year, like those sorts of things.
Well, of course, he's off contract, to be fair.
Yeah.
So who knows where he's going to go. Oh, that was a good ball. Hope everyone's having a lovely evening. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on your way through.
So Blinkers Fish, just an answer to your question of what minute do Sydney use to get a jail card and sub on Just the answer was the 45th minute of the resumption of the 46th minute at the resumption of the second half. What else have we got in the chat that we might have missed while we went on our little tangents? FC got some decent sized crowds in the early days of our Asian adventures. Yeah, I think a lot of that came down to the fact of the novelty. Like I mean, it's kind of hard to tell with the seating the way it is here, but it looks like there's a few Sydney FC fans that have made the trip over for this one. So
that's another thing as well. Just a final point: distances. Like Europe is an impossible comparison because everything is so much closer together over there. Like it's incredible.
Australia as a country is bigger than
Australia. Yeah, Australia is just like I was saying to you and Antonis at the original rivalry, Lockie. It's like, the distance from Adelaide to Melbourne is like Portsmouth to Newcastle. It's like that's like if you do that in the UK, you're like that's hardcore, and it's like that's the closest away day for people living in Adelaide. Like, it's incomprehensible to a lot of people. So
Neptune, I'm sorry to hear that your betting slip hasn't worked out too much, mate.
You got the Google Translate going there, did you, Lockie?
No, I'm just assuming.
Just making the educated guess.
Let's get the Translate going. Although to be fair, when he's gone to English, which said how many heads will there be? That's that kind of gives the indication. Where are we going?
I'll put you in a timeout. You have a 10-second timeout.
No, it's the kids would definitely go and watch the Saudi professionals match. If Google Translate is anything to go by.
Okay.
I think he's just copying a message, is he not? From Sam?
Maybe, yeah.
I've timed him
Yeah,
out for
that-
10 seconds.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, like I said, I did copy and so yeah, maybe he's just put it into Russian. I don't know why you would copy and paste it into Russian.
Famously, we can all speak and read Russian. So,
All right, come on, Sydney. Ooh, well done, Sega. Nice try.
Sydney just have not had a foot in the game since Lion City scored. Oh, that's a great hit.
Oh, fuck!
That's a great ball.
That's gorgeous.
Oh, my Lord.
That is wow. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I know we just spent the entirety of the halftime break talking about what the A-League should do. I'm not gonna lie. I
don't think they'll have to make a decision now.
Yeah,
to be honest.
I think that second goal might have.
Two's okay. That's Orchie. That's a good goal, though.
Well, I mean, okay, 2-0, the most dangerous league in football. I don't know.
Where's that come from?
Lucky just said 2's okay, and it's like, why? 2-0's the most dangerous
Well, it's a
league in
two-legged
football.
game, that's why.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, like, I know it's over 2 legs, but I mean, they just went through a situation where they took a default 3-0 lead into their second leg and basically parked the bus. I don't think there's any reason to suggest they couldn't do it with 2 away from home.
Yeah, they had to play Auckland on the weekend as well.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's a good chance that Sydney FC could just come up against a side that... I mean, what's been the frustration with Australian sides for years, both internationally and domestically? Can't break down a low block. You park... If you're Lion City, you park...
It's just getting caught in transition, right? That's what it is.
You park 9 of your 10 players behind the ball, leave one striker out, just be on the on the right side of the halfway line, and
yeah. Well, I think
for a brief second, lob the ball over the midfield, and then all of a sudden it's 1-on-1 for the keeper, right?
Yeah, I think Lion City have done their homework here, and just gone what's worked against Sydney all season long. Just ping it long over the top of the centre backs and have your centre forward making a run off the shoulder of the last man, and you're more than likely going to be put into those 1-on-1 situations. This is what Adelaide did on the weekend. And both Dylan Parias and Archie Goodwin had 1-on-1s that they probably should have done better with and put in the back of the net. So, and it's something actually Ufuk was talking about in the press conference as well post-match, where he was saying, like, we've come so far with elements of our defence and our press and our shape out of possession. He's like, but it's still those balls in behind over the top that are killing us. And it's those moments in transition that aren't quite working. So, yeah, it's not like it's an unknown weakness for them, and yeah, that's just such a great hit though. Like,
it's a great finish.
Yeah, Sam in the chat, learn how to play somebody offside. Maybe I feel like that's something that Australian sides generally lack is knowing how to play.
Sydney FC lack.
I'm not just going to dude, I'm just saying Sydney FC, like Australian sides as a whole, generally don't know how to play the offside trap. As a tactic, because they don't really need to do it in the league. They don't need to do it domestically because sides don't really set up to try to,
So have you just seen Ryan Grant do the Naruto to try and sell himself to the referee?
Yeah.
So good.
And it's just ended up in a massive falcon.
Yeah. Yeah, so Sam, I don't think, and it's certainly too late for Sydney FC to learn this late in the season to how to play or how to implement an offside trap. Like,
and it looked like in that one
level, I don't see it. Like the only times in the last couple of years I can think of NPL sides playing offside traps. It's probably only been against NWS Spirit women this season. And that's because because of the way Spirit play, they like to play right on the edge, and so sides have recognised that and are, putting it up against them. But other than that, I don't.
I just refresh enough to sit through light and easy ads.
Nice, have fun with that. But no, that goal there. Like I didn't properly take a look at the replays or anything, but what it looked to be was just a lack of communication between the two centre backs there. Obviously, Ryan Grant coming in alongside Alex Popovich, and it just they were on two different levels. Like Grant had pressed up, he'd engaged the next level forwards, which I don't quite understand because Lion City have just been pinging balls in behind every single time. You just want to sit deep and sweep them up. So actually, I'm probably going to pin that on Grant because it was also his player that made the run in behind anyway. So but a lack of communication clearly, because if they're both on that same line, then it's an offside and the player can't make that run in the first place. But I don't really understand the thinking behind Grant stepping up into the next level there when what's been the biggest threat for Lion City all game long has been playing the ball long and playing super direct. Just not learning from these mistakes and there's shades of Adelaide about that defending there.
That's just not a typical Sydney FC goal to concede. It's been cookie cutter all season.
Yeah, the best YouTuber, Devon Smith, shouldn't be being beaten from there.
It shouldn't be, but that is so
it's
well
a great
hit.
finish.
It is. I think I want to put that less on him. That's a nice ball in behind.
No. Come on, Joel.
I think the problem with trying to put that on Devon Schmears is the fact that we've seen it all season in the A-League, and if you've listened to my co-host on the Dubcast, Burke, all season, goalkeepers just been making errors aplenty everywhere across both competitions. Like, there's just something with goalkeepers in the Australian leagues this season where they're just not getting into position. They're making mistakes.
They're just young, generally.
So I don't really want to put that on Devon Schmears.
I think he's fine. Like, he's in a good position. It's just, if you're a good striker knows, it's becoming more prevalent the last 12 months. If you get on those angles, you're either putting it kind of like mid-height out to the far post and you're hoping for a kind of keeper parry into a dangerous area, or if you solo your one out, you have to go high because the keeper's going to get low to try and cover the percentage areas. So clever strikers will just try and absolutely rocket it above them, and he just got beat by a good shot for me.
Well, it's what Aaron Kunda did a couple of times last season, was almost exactly that sort of thing. Bukayo Saka does it, You just aim high at the front post and hit it as hard as you can, because, a keeper's going to be very tough ask for them to get anything onto those ones. Because like you said, Lockie, they're sitting low, their center of gravity is a bit lower.
Neptune, what's going on, buddy? You having a ping, are you? Some Singapore small team Lion City wins Australian successful team Sydney FC. Shame. Shame. 3-2 next week. You watch, mate. You're going to have another 10-second timeout. Don't test me. Don't test me, I'm telling you.
Blinkers, Fishers, lots of new faces in the men's and women's, hence the errors. I don't think it's necessarily the fact they're new faces. I think it's just...
I do. I think they're just inexperienced, no?
Yeah, I'm just trying to, like, I know my reference point has primarily been the women's game this season, just because time commitments means I can only watch so much football. But I mean, Ray Edwards isn't a new face. Talia Franco isn't a new face. That's just looking at Sydney FC. Casey Dumont has been for a bundle this season, and she's been in the Matilda setup in the past.
What are you talking about? She's a footy player. She counts.
Melina Mires. New to Australian faces, certainly. Same with Carolina Villau at the Phoenix. The one I will give everyone is Danielle Krasiniak at the Jets, because I'm pretty sure she's had half of their red cards already this season.
She's had not a great year, she.
So I will give Krasiniak. Why she got recruited, I don't know, and I don't think we'll ever know why she got recruited. She's clearly not up to par for the A-Leagues.
Because you've got to make one of those signings a year, Paletti. You've got to have one signing that makes the fans go, what's going on here then? Explain yourself.
What was that? The Chinese one, the guy that came to Adelaide, was it Yongmin Channel? Was it?
Yeah. Well, this year it was Julian Quaital, who then was immediately loaned out and hasn't played.
I remember that one. I was just thinking the meme signing.
Yongmin Chen was.
And then you've got Newcastle. Mario Jandel or Yardell or
Mario Jardel, yeah.
yeah. I just what a block.
The Mariners with Usain Bolt. You've just got to.
That was marketing 101, though.
But you've just got to throw a curveball in there every now and again. Keep everyone on their toes.
I genuinely believe that
from memory, Jacob ran a lot of straight lines. Actually,
I genuinely believe that Usain Bolt would have been an incredible off the bench option for the Mariners had he not had some overinflated sense of self where he thought that an A-League side could give him $2 million a year. Like, if he'd have been prepared to accept 500, maybe, like you sell a lot of jerseys.
He was stinking.
People would.
He scored a goal. He did.
Yeah,
People would have paid tickets just to see Usain Bolt play. Like, I genuinely believe if he'd have been willing to accept $500,000, he would have been a good off the bench option that season. I genuinely believe it.
I think that's crazy talk.
That is one of the most insane things I've heard.
Come on, Douglas, whip it in.
It was actually an interesting story about Usain Bolt. One of the
that's so soft, referee. That is so soft.
He was one of the brightest young Jamaican cricketers in school.
Was he?
Used to play. Yeah, he was very, very good. And he was spotted from his run up when he'd bowl. And the athletics coach at his school was like, this guy's got some power. Like,
Got some pace to him.
Yeah, he could be something. And then, the rest is history.
Compared to Gout though. Going to break all his records.
That guy's, there's a lot of hype at the moment.
Referee.
Under 20 and Open National Championship starts tomorrow.
Oh, does it?
It does.
He finished, I think, he got a silver in his first open age competition last month.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's 16, which is mental.
Yeah, he's crazy. Well, there's another one. I can't think of what her name is now. She's 14 years old, running the 100, and is putting up times close to some of the best in Australia in terms of women sprinters. She ran like an 11.4 or something, I think.
Wow.
This week at Nationals, which is crazy for a 14-year-old. So yeah, there's a lot of very good athletes at the moment in Australia. But anyway, let's talk about football.
Sydney FC need a goal.
They do. They need, I think, a bit of divine intervention as well at this point.
One goal for a little bit of optimism and probably another 1,000 people in the stands next week as well.
Got to have something to play for.
Yeah. No, 2-0 won't get too many people interested.
Like, I'd criticise people for not turning up given that they still got the chance to advance to a final, but I can't exactly say that when I won't be there either.
It's just the nature of being a sport fan. Like, it's just what happens.
Well, it's like I was with doing Melbourne away, where I was like on the Monday before the match, I was like, oh, I've just spent so much money on this.
Yeah.
Like if Adelaide lose, like, but that's part of doing it, right? Is that's the risky run. Is you might watch your team lose.
That's a poor ball.
So.
Rockets! Oh, that's a corner. That is a corner and
was blocked.
So good.
Of course, it's Segacic that's getting on the end of that.
He came on the weekend and scored his third chance.
Yes.
So,
it did take him a while.
Plenty of time.
Yeah.
He will get there.
I mean, Jacob, just to what you were saying, I was listening to one of my radio shows that do their episodes of the podcast because I'm not listening to Las Vegas radio at 1 a.m. in the morning. One of the hosts was talking about how, he's been to World Series games for the Yankees, and I think they brought it up because they were talking about last year where he was at Dodger Stadium for Game 1 with Freddie Freeman walk-off homer.
Yeah.
Talking about how it was just like, I don't regret it. I know that when I purchased the ticket, that's what I signed up for. There's a chance they're going to lose, to be in the stadium, and so it's just one of those things.
Football. Sorry,
yes, I will not be at this. I said I will not be at League 2 next week. Oh, that is
That's
so
two.
close.
It's on a platter. That's such a good move there. So well done. Great hold up play from Klimala.
Yeah,
That is
how good a
brilliant.
touchback is that?
Is that cop the deflection? No, that's just
You
gone
dropped the kids off
quick.
at the pool and they couldn't find the front door.
That's taken more swing than SCG pitch on day 5 that has. My word.
Oh, okay, mine was better. I'm just gonna.
Let me guess, Declan Rice.
But no, unfortunately I won't be at leg 2 next week because I've got a game to commentate. Being sent to the luxurious Petermore Field in Canterbury's Bankstown area.
I should have been more specific when I said football.
Talking about this game specifically.
All right, come on, Sydney. You got to lock. Oh,
That's
referee!
definitely caught him there, right?
Oh my goodness. Oh, come on, Sydney. You got to get at least one of these. The thing is, if they get one, they can get 3 as well. There you go. I told you. He needs 3 chances. He's had 2.
Yeah. God, I should have buried that. I should have at least got it on target, that second one.
He should have.
That
I
was
mean, it just
set up for
swung
him.
so far out in the air, like.
Well, it's because of the way he hit it. Like,
But it's almost like I admire the impressiveness of being able to get so far off target, given it basically lined it up from the middle of the goal. Like,
Go on,
that's
Lolly.
offside. That's offside. That's offside.
Goal kick anyway.
Tell you what, he's been quiet recently, Joe Lolly.
Yeah, probably.
Someone who's
Oh, it's tight. It is
come
offside.
to expect a lot more from.
Chef Gotti, goodbye Aussie club. Don't underestimate Singapore club. None of us are underestimating Singapore club.
Hey,
Lion
don't
City
you
Sailors,
underestimate
number
the
1.
power of Adrian Segic.
Yes. Number 2. I know I've been a little bit doom and gloom, but it is a 2-legged tie. Like,
It is.
Sydney
Yeah.
FC could win 3-0 next week. And
2-0 is still, like we saw that with the Jean Book game, right? Sydney FC went and got a 2-0 lead and Jean Book came back and took the lead. Did they take the lead or they drew it even, something like that? So they've been tested before.
Yep, sure have.
2-0 is recoverable. 3-0, you start getting to the territory where people just don't turn up next week, which would suck.
yeah. And then they'll all miss a 4-0 thriller anyway.
4-0 for Lion City.
Ollie, you cannot be shooting from there.
You say that, but last season he shoots from there, he scores.
But that was last season. This is this
Yeah.
season. He's not scoring from there.
That's what I'm saying. He's not scoring. Like, he's just been really quiet
Thor
this year.
in the chat, I predict this one ends on 2-2 draw. 20 minutes ago, yeah, I'd rate that.
That would be an impressive comeback from Sydney.
All right. 70th minute ticked over. We're into the final 20. Come on, Sydney. They've had so much of the ball. They don't deserve to be 2-0, but Lion City definitely have earned their lead.
Oh, yeah. This is the last sort of 10 minutes has really been the only time Sydney have been in the game since Lion City scored their first. Like, they've just...
They've had half moments. Not half chances, half moments in the final third. That's a free kick.
And this has been, like, sustained as well over the last 10 minutes, where it's been, like,
Come on,
consistent
Douglas.
pressure.
Douglas Costa. La 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 la. La 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 la.
He's so crazy good. It's...
Monique will get to that question after this free kick because it is a good one. Oh no, horrible news.
What?
news?
Oh, I've got another story time after we get through all this.
Oh, God.
Story time with Lockie Abel. Let's go. And in the meantime, I'm trying to write an article in amongst all this as well. So this is fun. Keep getting distracted.
Honestly, I'm just trying to stay awake at this point.
I'm surprisingly awake, which I can't believe. Oh, it's a poor free kick.
What are you doing, Dougie?
Sorry. Okay, let's go story time first, really briefly, before we get into this. So, my fixture for hockey this weekend is 12:30, and it's at a 12:30 Saturday, and it's at a pitch that, like, the club actually has 2 pitches, but it's like a ground share also between 2 clubs, so it gets very busy. And it just so happens that I'm playing at 12:30 on one pitch, and my partner is playing on the other pitch at 2:00. So it's going to work out perfectly. She can have the dog for the first game. I'll take the dog for the second game, and he's all good. And she's just told me she's been dropped for the weekend. So she's playing in the reserves also at 12:30. So no one's there to look after the dog. It's just going to be a logistical nightmare.
I think this is the first time you've told me that your partner also plays hockey.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think this has ever come up.
Well, yeah, we met umpiring, so there you go.
Monique raises a great point.
Out.
Football, Lockie.
Sorry.
Yeah, you're giving me crap, Lockie.
How dare
I get to start talking about NPL now.
I apologise. Okay, another Roughs and Subs for Lion City. What is going to be, Monique asks, the A-League game of the weekend? I think it's Wanderers Western.
Potentially Sydney Auckland, though.
Potentially, but I actually think, I was thinking about this today, Sydney FC tired off a loss now on a pitch that won't suit their style of play. They won't be able to play smooth, free-flowing football as well as they could on a certain surface. Auckland love to get dirty when they have to. I think they'll actually win that game comfortably.
So I'm going to be my usual smart-ass self here and say that I think the game of the weekend is going to be Canberra United versus Wellington Phoenix. Michelle Heyman's 200th.
Oh, sit him down, Sega. That was Bailey Wright as well.
Michelle Heyman's 200th. Wellington win. They're back sort of in the finals hunt. Canberra win. They seal up a final spot and eliminate every team below them from being able to compete, I believe, bar Brisbane. So I think that's going to be the A-League game of the weekend. 3 p.m. Sunday afternoon, Canberra United and Wellington Phoenix.
Oh, this referee is so soft, man.
Lockie just deliberately ignoring my smart assery.
No. I'm hearing you. I let you finish. I didn't cut in. Okay, Anis Wahim coming on now.
Yeah.
For Klamala.
What? Okay, so as
Lolly in the middle.
As we established earlier in the stream, I haven't been watching a ton of A-League men recently. What's been happening with Anis Wahim? He just dropped off the face of the earth.
I think he was unfit for a little while.
And then he just hasn't been picked.
Yeah.
They've never really settled on that midfield because Caceres has been so good. So you're trying to squeeze Senna, Holman, Camijo, and Wahim into those other spots.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So it's just been tough. Oh, geez. Oh, there was a runner going straight through the middle there that they could have found.
They didn't bother.
I think that was Joel King who just completely lost his marker through the middle. Sam says was trying to find the combined weekly wage budget for Lion City Sailors. A Reddit post came up from 4 years ago. The club were advertising for a striker with an annual salary of $7,000 to $11,000.
I'd do it.
Is that Singaporean dollars or Australian dollars?
Oh, it better not be Singaporean. That'll be even worse, right?
Yeah.
All right.
I'll tell you what, there are some amateur footballers in South Australia that would get paid more than that.
There's a lot in New South Wales that do as well, yeah.
Yeah, suppose an amateur league and it's like they're earning more than NPL players. It's been sloppy from Sydney.
It's not been good.
Like when they've had those moments where they've connected well and they've, the passes have come off and they've made those good movements in and around the area, there's been chances, but it's just not been like as frequent as we've sort of come to expect from them. Like there's just been a lot of just overhit passes, miss balls, and Declan Rice gets another mention.
Yes, Giuseppe. Rice, baby. How much of these references are because they know that we're Arsenal fans, and how many is it just people just like really happy?
Don't lump me in with you two and Arsenal fans. Don't lump me into this.
Oh, it's a good
ball.
testing ball. Oh. At least it's not overhit this time,
I didn't even see that. I'm not going to lie. I'm trying to find a way to write a couple of pars that suggest that Hayley Razzo might need to be dropped on the Matildas without making it sound like I'm retiring her.
You're not allowed to speak negatively on the Matildas.
That's right. You will have people on your back immediately.
I know, which is part of the problem. It's because we sort of I'm basing this premise based on like 90 minutes on Monday night from Mary Fowler, where she was playing on the wing, and she basically said post game that she thinks it's her best position given what she's doing there at Clubland, and we've been trying to ask that question for 5 years. You're not dropping Caitlin Ford. No. You're not going to play Mary Fowler as striker because you've got Holly Mack and Sam Kerr fighting. I know Sam Kerr, when she's ready to start, she'll start again. But you got Kerr and Mack at the striker position, and Michelle Heyman as a third striker option. The only place to stick her in a front three is on the right wing with Mary Fowler, and Hayley Razzo. Kind of have to relegate her to the bench, maybe drop her for a younger name like a Courtney Vine. If Courtney Vine gets back in the form as well, like, I know that's going to upset a lot of people whose favourite Matilda is Hayley Razzo, but I'm trying to think of a way to fit Fowler in that isn't dropping anyone, and I don't think there is. Someone has
Famously,
to go.
there are only 11 players allowed on the pitch.
Yeah, I mean, Rob Stanton said he hasn't met anyone who can put 22 and 11.
Nah, of course, Monique, I agree with you. Some people are coming to that realisation, but some other people are still very protective. Dean, I reckon you're right, mate. Sydney seem to be struggling in the humid weather. They do close well, though. Lee's also complaining that maybe he could be hitting the mute button on the coughing.
Was that me or Jacob?
That's me. That's my bad.
That's how bad my memory is at the moment, because I'm like also sick and I'm just so exhausted. I don't remember what I'm doing.
How is everyone sick at the moment? Will's sick, Jacob's sick, Christian's sick, Paletti's sick.
I mean, to be fair, I've been sick on and off since December.
I'm scared. Oh, Jesus.
Level degrees. I don't know what's going on.
All right, 10 minutes. We're only allowed to talk about this game. That's our challenge for 10 minutes to go.
They better give us something to talk about then.
Here we go. Go on, Joe Lolly. Segacic. He's a bundle of energy, isn't he? Oh, what are you blowing for?
Offside?
How can that possibly be offside?
That's the only thing I can think of. There was no foul. And the camera panned to the offside. AR, so yeah.
Hold on, I need to see a replay. I swear that
must have been from that first pass forward. Like, did he come back from an offside position? Maybe.
Surely not. Can we get a replay, please?
They're just not. They're not going to show it.
See it.
Yeah.
And it's 10 play, so we can't rewind.
Mm-hmm. Love that.
Good ball. Come on, Jordan, just run. I agree, Christopher. They need at least one.
Oh, and Lion City are in behind.
Oh,
again.
No. Ryan Grant's been duped.
Great save.
Well done,
save, Devonish Mears.
Good save.
Oh,
again, he's been good.
That's kept their hopes alive.
He's been good the last few months.
I don't know why the striker didn't go direct there, why he tried to take it out to the left. But it was a bit of a strange move. Let the defender close in. Was it Popovic?
Come on, Sydney. We need one.
Close the angle.
I think if they score here, they can still feel like the favourites going into the next leg. But I think 2-0 leaves it to Lion City. Like we saw what they did in the previous round, right? They got demolished by San Frecce 6-1, but then of course we had the suspension issue. So they essentially were up 3-0. So very close to what we have here. And they went and they actually scored first in the return leg. So and they held on defensively very well. So we know if they go into a game with that mindset, they are going to be able to pull it off. Doing it away from home is a different thing, of course. But 2 goals. They're chasing some very special history of their own as well. So they this is everything.
Well, it's
for
like
them.
they've been gifted this, right? You know, like that. So that's
I mean, imagine if we were watching them play Sanfrecce right now. Oh my word, that would be. 2-0 probably looks pretty good in comparison here that it would against Sanfrecce, not going to lie.
Oh, yeah, of course.
But different conditions, different pitch, different location, different team. You know, Sydney could be on top if it was Sanfrecce. You never know. But yeah, no, it's like I think it's pretty clear that Lion City have like almost sort of bought into this thing that they've been given a lifeline. This is a real chance now to go on and
good ball.
Make themselves proud.
Come on, Costa, just skin someone.
Yeah, a bit overhit.
Too much. Lion City beat Jeonbuk 2-0 at this artificial pitch as well, apparently, according to Ben.
There you
Is
go.
that true? I wonder, actually, their home record from memory, just hearing people talk about it, has been very good.
Well, I mean, you don't make it this far into the tournament without being very good. So.
No, you're not wrong. So, yeah, they drew 1-1 with Hiroshima at home.
Yep.
They beat Guangdong 4-0 in the round before that, the round of 16.
Nice.
After a 2-3 win away from home. And then in the groups, a 5-2 win. They lost 3-2. And then, so when did they play Jeonbuk? Must have been in the previous year. They beat Zhejiang, who is they're the team that knocked out Melbourne City in the Champions League last year. They beat them at home. So Ben, that's interesting. You've just said those tough games normally they will play in this stadium to increase chances of winning. So they don't play all their games in here. They just like to make it difficult. I mean, fair enough. If you have it at your disposal.
Kind of respect
that. I rate that.
Yeah, that's good. That's good stuff.
Oh God, what's going on here?
Good old-fashioned time wasting, maybe.
Something's going on with the goalkeeper's foot. Oi, Sam, why the drive-bys on Arsenal, mate? Pack it in.
Yeah. I saw one earlier where it's like, hate Arsenal and what they're doing to the game I love. I was like, what?
Winning.
Yeah,
that's what we're doing.
Well, we haven't even won anything. We've not even won
we're
anything.
winning some important games occasionally.
Yeah, exactly.
Hurry up.
We finished second for the last like 4 seasons.
Arteta ball has commenced.
Oh, I cannot wait for that return fixture. It is going to be prime, just haramble of like, just
haramble. That's a term I haven't heard for a very long time.
11 behind the ball at all times. It's tough being a Spurs fan. Oh, right. Well.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't know that, Sam. My mistake.
Well, I'd assume then you'd hate Arsenal for more than just ruining football. I'd hope that it's a bit more.
I think Ant's going to get sacked now, unfortunately. Yeah. Sorry, this game. Focus.
That's gone out the window, Lockie.
Yeah.
We lasted 5 minutes.
Okay, so just on that, wouldn't winning the Europa League save him? Or do you think that's not enough?
I don't think it's I feel like he's losing his mind, honestly.
Yeah. Some of the press conferences he's had recently are absolutely just
the last week has been mental.
Yeah.
Oh, Wahim, go.
Like there's some stuff he says that's corner. Oh, it's a corner. there's some stuff he says where it's like, yeah, that's fair enough. But then you like read the full transcript of the whole thing, and it's like the rest of it is filled with him just like going insane.
Yeah, he's like, I'm falling out of love with the game.
Yeah.
Like
But it's like, it sounds exactly
I'm so
like
disconnected from the fans.
exactly like the sort of stuff Jose Mourinho was saying on his way out as well at Tottenham.
It actually sounds a lot like what Ange was saying at the end of his Australia gig.
Yeah, so I know I've said to you, Lockie, that I basically spent 3 hours reading a book on Monday while I was at my hotel in Newcastle. I still haven't finished Angelo, so I was reading that, and I just sort of was reading the chapters around his Socceroo's tenure. And yeah, you've said that, and yeah, it actually does sound very similar to what he was saying.
Why is there nobody in the middle? What is going on? What's nobody central?
Get some numbers in the box.
Three right wingers. What is this?
Handball.
No.
Handball.
Sam, chairman, said they have to win. Basically, has a year to run on his deal. Pochettino was tied up. They won't have a good solution if he does get sacked. I don't think this is a case. Just admittedly, very surface level analysis. It's well established. I'm an A-League snob, not a Euro snob. Does Ange walk away?
Nah,
I don't think so. I think he's fully committed to what he's doing and believes that he's on the right path. But I think that it's the criticism from the fans, the weird atmosphere at that club. It makes. But
I mean, this has been a problem
on, Costa.
For what? Basically, since Dan Levy took over the club, right? Like this is an owner who doesn't want to spend money, but then complains that he can't compete with a big team. Like you got to spend money at some point, right? Like it's. I'm trying to think. Pochettino, Mourinho, was Conte there at one point as well? Yeah. Like you've got all these great managers, all of whom have failed to have success at Tottenham, bar. Pochettino made the run to the Champions League final one year.
That was Mourinho.
That was Mourinho, right? Yeah. Like, bar that run, no one's done anything at that club since you took over. At some point, you got to look in the mirror, mate. Like, maybe the problem is you and not wanting to spend money.
All right.
But they spent plenty of money building their new stadium.
And they're earning a lot of money from it.
And they are earning a lot of money from it.
80
looks like a toilet.
minutes.
I mean, that NFL money is crazy, right?
Final minute of regular time. Still 2-0 to Lion City Sailors.
Bucky tried his best to keep us on topic.
I'm really trying. Honestly, I'm trying my hardest not to fall asleep right now.
Yeah, it's been a slog.
Come on, Sydney.
That was out.
Yep. Yeah, he got it. Come on, Sydney. Man, this feels really on the line. Oh, I don't know. Do you feel like Sydney go in as favourites? Yeah, he's offside.
I don't know.
That's such a good ball, Segacic.
I think
that doesn't count as his third attempt because he was offside.
I guess it was rubbish.
I mean, it is at home. The conditions should be favourable for Sydney FC.
But I just can't.
But I'd imagine it'd be.
I've not been impressed by them tonight. That's the thing. Like, and then they've got a tough fixture with Auckland coming up. Tight schedule.
I don't know if favourites is the right term to use. Like, I think this might be, to use a betting term. In AFL or rugby league or something like that. I think it might just very much be a pick'em sort of game where
go Sega,
where they're both very similar in odds. I think they both have equal chance of advancing.
Drive. Let him have it.
To the final. That's sort of how I see it. Even at 2-0, if it goes 2-1, then it's definitely advantage Sydney in my opinion. 3 minutes, or minimum of 3 minutes.
4.
They're so slow to play passes. It's unbelievable.
They're exhausted.
Just pick past the first minute and minimum of 3 remaining. I'm getting pedantic here, but I knew what I was saying. We've really got
for the first time this evening.
Wow. Jacob with a drive-by. Wow. Okay.
I had you set it up for me.
I see how it is.
Crowd's getting around
Anytime
it,
you
though.
feel
It's
like
good to see.
distributing the ball. Come on, keeper.
It's a good point, Blinkus, saying Sydney will 100% win the game next week, but they might not win the tie.
Yeah, so I could see a 1-0 victory at home and then just battering shot after shot after shot from like the 75th minute onwards and nothing going in.
Although there was somebody in the chat before saying that, once the goalkeeper leaks goals, normally he will leak a lot more like he did in the first leg game against Hiroshima.
Yeah, someone was saying the keeper was an issue.
Yeah.
I think if Lion City won this by 1 goal, I think Sydney are clear favourites in the second leg. I think if it was 3-0, Lion City are clear favourites. But 2-0 feels like somewhere in the middle. I still think it probably leans towards Lion City. But Sydney are going to have the advantage for sure. That's a waste of effort.
What the hell was that? Gosh.
That's called desperation, Paletti.
Yeah.
He somehow managed to make the ball bobble on a completely flat artificial pitch, so that's impressive.
They're an Abdi Shatter.
yeah. That bit, I still can't get over that. I reckon somebody, looking back at it, somebody painted the grass green, like to get it that colour.
Come on, for the coefficient, let's go.
For the coefficient. Yeah, what does it mean if Sydney don't progress here? It's not good.
I mean, it actually we're at a reasonable point this year now from where they are right now. So the way it works is you get wins per tie, like wins and draws in the individual tie plus bonus points for progression. So they're losing points tonight, like points they won't be able to earn back next week.
Yep.
So that's disappointing, but because they've come this far, yellow card for time wasting. Because they've come this far, they've actually kind of rescued the Mariners a little bit. So we're on par with the other nations around us.
Yeah.
So it's not a bad year at the end of the day, but obviously if the Mariners had maybe decided to win one game, could have been better. It could have been a big earning year.
Yeah.
Oh, he's literally just allowed so much time wasting and blown it immediately after the minimum 4 minutes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
All right. Sydney. Actually, hold on. All right, full time. I'm going to stop the clock. And, oops, I just hid the clock. 90 minutes.
Same thing.
Reset. There we go. All right, full time. Lion City Sailors 2, Sydney FC 0. It's been a frustrating game for Sydney FC. They were a better team in moments, but Lion City Sailors came in with a clear plan, and that was Jacob to play, really, quite simply, long diagonal balls in transition, which is something that Sydney have struggled with all season. They capitalised on their moments in front of goal. Sydney FC did not, despite a few opportunities. Their automatic trump card of Adrian Segacic was not successful on this occasion, and all of a sudden they have a lot to do in the second leg in Sydney next week.
Yeah, I mean, full credit to Lion City because I think that, they came out, they knew what they needed to do to really threaten Sydney and to get themselves on the score sheet. Because with Sydney, you can never count them out, right? Like you feel like they've always got a goal in them, and okay, they didn't score one tonight, but there were definitely moments, and Lion City knew that they were going to need to get a couple, and Sydney's issues in transition defensively are well documented at this point, especially this season. And like you said, just played really good long diagonal balls in behind early on as well. They didn't really wait too much to let those players make the runs. They played the ball ahead of the run, and so allowed the striker and the wingers to move their run and make their adjustments as the ball's in the air, which I found quite interesting. But then when those diagonal balls didn't work, and they had that backup plan, which was of course to just play a straight ball over the top instead, which was their other option. So and they both worked equally well, and we saw, especially from that second goal, the threat that poses, and when there's a moment, a lapse of judgment, some miscommunication between the centre back pairing, like there was for that second goal, all of a sudden Sydney are just out of it, and a really good finish for the second goal, and one of the best finishes we've seen for all since the morning for that first goal. And yeah, full credit to Lion City, and Sydney just looked disappointing on the ball, off the ball. On the ball, they were sloppy, overhitting passes, they were slow. By the end, that's obviously down to just being tired and fatigued, and obviously hot and humid over there, so it's going to drain them quicker. But even early on in the game, when they did have those periods of good possession, it was just a lot of silly little sloppy passes, and they couldn't quite get things going in the final third. So a little bit uncharacteristic of Sydney, but it's 2-0. They're heading into that next fixture at home now, and we were saying they're not completely out of it. There is still that chance for them to do it, but it would have been so good to see them convert one of those chances. Especially that second Segacic chance that he had. That was a absolutely prime opportunity, and the only example throughout that game of Sydney being at their best. With that link up play between Costa and Klimala, the really good hold up and touch back from Klimala to set Segacic up for a first time shot. Yeah, you need to be doing better in those situations. So it's going to be tough for Sydney now. There's seems to be, at least in the chat and amongst us, a bit of positivity that Sydney will be able to get some goals and maybe make a game of it. But, there's a lot of work ahead of them now, because they really can ill afford to concede at this point when it comes to the home fixture. And as we've seen recently, conceding is all they seem to be doing. So, they really need to sort that out and fix those problems heading into the next leg.
I think it's really tough. The 1-0 scoreline would have felt like Sydney still were the favourites coming into the second leg. I think the 3-0 would have meant that the Lion City Sailors would have come in as clear favourites. I think 2-0 probably still leans towards the Singaporeans, but not to the same extent. It's probably still so tight, as we're talking about with all of our lovely guests in the live stream tonight who were signing off. We appreciate your company, but Paletti, it's going to be a disappointing night. The conditions are something that we have to consider as well. Very warm, very humid. They went over a few days early to acclimatise, but you're never going to have that same time. It was on an artificial pitch. Sydney now get to go back. Yes, they have to play on the weekend, but they get to play in their home territory in conditions that the Lion City Sailors won't be used to. So that's obviously an advantage. And then the carrot of a stick of being able to then go and host an Asian final. That's motivation in itself. So not all doom and gloom for Sydney, but it's going to take a big effort next Wednesday night.
Yeah, it absolutely will. That home ground advantage can't be understated. We just saw what Lion City did at home. I see no reason why Sydney FC can't do similar. You've got to make sure that the Sydney Football Stadium is going to be a fortress next week. Whatever you need to do. I don't know if the club can maybe go, hey, if you turn up for the game against Auckland on the weekend, get a free ticket or something like that. Just encourage as many people to come along as you can. Make it just such a hostile atmosphere for Lion City that you can, I don't know if overpower them is the right word to use, but sort of just, make them question themselves a little bit. And then one goal might turn into 2 goals, might turn into 3 goals. As one of our listeners in the chat was pointing out, like, if you can find a way to do that, particularly if you can do it early, you want to, take a 1-0 lead into halftime, 2-0 lead into halftime, and suddenly you're level with 45 minutes to play and you've got the home advantage, plus finals, like Lion City have to travel. Yes, I know Sydney FC have to play on the weekend against Auckland. Lion City have to play on the weekend as well, or
I believe they do, but they've shown in the past that they will not hesitate to rest their big players.
Yeah, so they have to play Saturday night as well. So they basically both have to play at the same time. Then Lion City have to make the trip over to Australia, and you can question whether having to go over there is tougher for Sydney versus Lion City having to come over here. I think there's a very good chance that they can overturn this 2-0 lead. It might take a lot of work, but look, if there's any side in the A-Leagues this season I would trust to overcome a 2-0 lead, it would be Sydney FC, because they've shown time and time again this season they can do it with a lot less time than 90 minutes on the clock.
All right, it's going to be tough for Sydney, but we hope they can get the job done, of course, hosting an Asian Champions League finals on the line. If they can get the victory, well, they need a little bit more than that, don't they? Overcome the 2-0 deficit that Lion City Sailors have afforded themselves tonight, but we'll see you then. And that is our little match recovery recording done. Everyone in the chat for the live stream, we appreciate your company as always. Really nice, solid numbers. So we appreciate you hanging out with us. Blinkus, Sam, Monique, who am I missing? Ben. Let's go back a little bit. Christopher, Ben, another Ben. Neptune, my guy.
Neptune.
Hope your bet's paid off. Everyone else who is in here chatting with us, we appreciate your company. I hope we'll be back, Monique. I tend to do little availability checks at the start of every week just to see if things are possible. Yeah. We'll do our best though. It's obviously a big game. So, Paletti, are you going to be at this game? What are your moves?
We literally went over this 20 minutes ago. I'm going to be commentating Sydney Olympic and Sydney Uni at Petermore Field on Wednesday night.
For the final time, we're going to play the 4:30 wake up card. We're going to go off. We're going to go to sleep. Although my dilemma is I want to watch the Masters this weekend. So do I commit to just waking up at 5 a.m. every morning? I don't know. Not tomorrow. I need a good night's sleep. All right, that will do. Appreciate everyone in the chat. And yeah, thanks for another sick live stream. We'll see you next time. What was that sound?
That was one of my cats, was it?
All right, we're out.